Everyone, what's up? It's Havy, and welcome to the Halo edition of the Vandyl podcast. Today, once again, as always, I am joined by our creative director, Audrey.
Hello.
And our head of content, Xavier.
Hey, everybody.
So, guys, today is an episode that I really hold near and dear to my heart.
You've been looking forward to this one.
What is it?
You've been looking forward to this
I have been looking forward to this one. I'm sure people who listen to the podcast, all three of you, I'm kidding. I'm sure you're really excited for it as well, because something that we have really, I wouldn't say dipped our feet in, I would say jumped in head first, is the world of Halo. If you watched our previous podcast, or if you've just seen our presence on social media by now, you have realized that we are definitely looking to enter the Halo scene. And we will talk about that a little more in depth on this episode. But first, guys, I just want to get into what we've seen so far from Halo, HCS, and everyone at 343 and Microsoft as a whole up to this point. I think the best way to start this is to talk about the past that is Halo, Halo esports.
Cue presentation slide.
And if you look to my right here, it's Master Chief. There is a Mondo poster that I absolutely love, this poster of a deconstructed Master Chief that 343 partnered with Mondo to get this print made when they announced Infinite a long time ago, and then it got delayed. So I still absolutely love this print, but that did happen, and I found that very ironic.
And it glows in the dark,
that is actually really funny.
It does glow in the dark. Yeah, there's elements of Chief that glow in the dark, which is really cool. It's like that neon glow in the dark paint that they can layer over top. It's really cool. Anyway, super nerdy shit. Brief history of Halo is the first three games were wildly popular under the company of Bungie. Bungie decides, as their exiting the world of Halo and giving up on that franchise and moving on to new things, which would become Destiny, they make the game Halo Reach, which a lot of people can say whatever they want about Halo Reach or Halo 4 or Halo 5. I think Halo Reach was probably one of the most polarizing things as a Halo fan that you could see, because it introduced things like sprint, jetpack, and elements to the game that still live today. There is a big argument to be made that the state that Halo is in today is not due to the fault of 343. It's that they adapted on what the latest edition of Halo was when they adopted the series. But at the same time, people look as Bungie gave us the glory days of Halo, some people would look at. But I know a ton of people out there, Xavier included, who love Halo 4 and Halo 5, and those esports still held up throughout the years. Were they the AAA Tier 1 esports? No, they were not. But they still existed. Halo was still a popular game. People still bought Halo 4 and 5 and they played it, and people still play it to the day. People still play Master Chief Collection. So, Halo Infinite, a game that has been in development for what seems like forever.
A long time.
Felt like we were going to see some light at the end of the tunnel last year. Even though COVID was going on, we did get that reveal last summer, to which I think more than half of people reacted negatively to that, to the point to where the reveal was being memed. You had like Craig,
Craig,
you had a lot of
Craig.
crazy, how are the graphics this terrible this late in the game? The game's supposed to release this fall. I have a gut feeling that game, when they revealed that in the summer, was going to get delayed no matter what the reaction was. Because
I think they knew going into that reveal that it was not where it should have been.
Yes. And there's no way they would have
released
released it like that on that stage and not said, we're about to get some shit. Yeah. There's no way. And so the game is eventually delayed indefinitely. And then luckily, a couple months back, we started getting some rumors, some whispers of the game is going to be released holiday of 2021. A little ambiguous, sure, but at least we know it's coming out this year.
Yeah.
And then just a short few weeks ago, they give us the most information we've gotten on the game to date, which is their multiplayer reveal trailer. Personally, I thought their E3 trailer was not very good, left a lot to be desired. And then the next day they release almost like a little mini doc, an inside look at Halo Infinite's multiplayer. I do still feel a little underwhelmed currently, cautiously optimistic, but I thought things looked really, really good.
Yeah, I'm interested to know why you thought the E3 trailer wasn't good. To me, it was what E3 trailers are. Like, no, it didn't have a ton of information in it, but that's not always really what you do at E3, outside of the press conferences. And I feel like the mini doc was them doing that. So we did get the information, like you said, after the fact. Yeah. But I thought the trailer was actually sick. Like, it made me want to play the game, which is the goal of a trailer, right?
So here's where I fall on that. E3, after a year of disappointing your fan base, straight up. After a year of disappointing your fan base, the Xbox showcase with your flagship game, the game that was meant to launch with your latest console, the game that has been the pillar of your franchise for 15 years, 20 years, you give 2 minutes of fame to. And then say, we'll show you more tomorrow. I think that it's not a misstep on 343. I think it's a misstep on Microsoft. I think if you're going to really lean into getting people stoked, E3, people always judge you at E3. Look at the way Blizzard's trailers have been reacted to. And I don't think it was bad. I don't think the trailer was bad. I think it was a marketing hiccup. The next day, for me, it was enough. I'm totally good with it. I was like, okay, cool. You gave me enough gameplay, whatever. I do want more. I want to see more. I want to know more. I do think these Inside Infinite articles are good, but I think if the game is coming out in a couple months, you got to start feeding these people because they're fucking hungry.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, that is fair. So I think I'm coming at it from a slightly different place because I did not play in the glory days of Halo. Like Justin mentioned, I really started playing Halo with Reach, so I didn't have the stigma that came with Sprint, that came with all those other things that were introduced then, because that was really the first game that I dived into. I did play the other ones after.
You don't know anything different, right?
Right, yeah. To me, it was just the game. That's how the game was. And the ones before that just didn't have some of that stuff, so I kind of did it backwards. So I think that's kind of where I'm coming at here is like, I don't have the 15-year relationship with this game that a lot of people have. And those expectations to me just seem a little not unrealistic and not out of question either. Like, I totally understand where you're coming from, but I think when we talk about Infinite, we're talking about them trying to bring in a new fan base as well as appeasing the old guard. And I feel like, especially with E3 being all digital and everything this year, I think they handled it good. It was good. You know, I'm not saying that it was like mind blowing. Like, no, they didn't blow anybody out of the water with like the info that they dropped or the gameplay that they showed. But I think it was like you said, it brought a little optimism back, because I don't think anyone was particularly optimistic before the multiplayer reveal. But I think now people are starting to say, okay, well, let's stop wanting it to be bad, because I feel like that there's a little bit of that going on. All these people that love the franchise, that love everything, are expecting something to be terrible, and they don't want it to be that way, but their subconscious mind is telling them this game's going to be shit. I'm not going to like
Preparing for the worst.
I'm never going to play Halo again because they're going to ruin it for me. And I feel like that's a really toxic way to think about it and talk about it. Because I'm really excited for the game. Like,
I agree.
I'm so pumped to play this.
And that's why I say cautious optimism, because now I totally understand the argument, though. I understand the argument of they have fucked us for the last 10 years. And they really have, because Master Chief Collection, I do think, is one of the biggest fumbles in gaming history. Straight up.
Why is that?
Well,
I know you've told me
whenever
before,
it released,
but I'm
it was all games release, and I hate this unrealistic expectation that a game is going to ship perfectly.
Yeah.
Because you can only stress test. You can stress test a game as much as you want, but when 20 million people try to play it, you have no idea what the fuck's going to happen, especially in an online environment, right?
Yep.
Every game is going to have hot, fixes and patches and all of that stuff in the first couple weeks, maybe even months. If a game is released broken, you have destroyed any chance of repair, in my opinion. Cyberpunk is a great example, but I really don't. Anthem was a broken game on the release, immediately. Right? There's
examples of it for sure.
Famous examples, and I really think as someone who loved Halo, and the games were already there. That's the biggest blunder about it, is the games already existed, and I understand there was a huge learning curve getting them onto PC, but man, it was a disaster. It was an absolute disaster to the point to where like legally it became a disaster too. And so even today, Master Chief Collection has major problems, and people want to play it, but sometimes it's just not working. And it's sad because I don't think that's that doesn't all fall on 343, because they've released other games that are good. Like Halo 4 and Halo 5 are good.
If you look at them by themselves, aside from the franchise, just take them as what they are, I think Halo 4 is pretty decent. Halo 5 has lasted this long. I mean, people are still playing it competitively, if we're being honest. Like,
yeah,
it has something.
I think it was everything that was. I think a big thing with like Halo 3 was the revolutionary aspect of it, right? Like it had brought things that had never been seen before by gaming. So did Halo 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you get games like Halo 4 and it's like, people are like, this isn't, first of all, it's not Halo, quote unquote. And B, it's not revolutionary. You're not changing anything.
Right.
What is this? This isn't what Halo is meant to be. Halo is always supposed to be the next. Oh,
bless you,
Lord.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, and then coming from the perspective of someone like Audrey. So Audrey,
yeah, I want to know what Audrey thinks.
Audrey doesn't have a really, detailed.
There's a lot of foundation to learn about, and I'm not trying to like form any opinions because I truly have no grounds to. It's truly just based on everyone's opinion so far and their merit, and just like what I've seen at E3 with Justin, and like designing for some stuff even too, and just kind of like rabbit holing of like previous games and what they looked like. I don't know, just like little stuff like that is like the most kind of like R&D I can do until like I actually play it. But
well, let's go there. What did you think as someone who has no preconceived notion of Halo?
Yeah,
we watched the E3 trailer.
Yeah,
we obviously have slightly differing opinions based on our experience with the game, and you have a different experience.
Right.
So
you have no experience. You are fresh-minded, and I am not a negative person when it comes to Halo. As an old school Halo person, OG whatever, someone came from the montage scene, played Halo 2, played Halo 3. I want this game to succeed. I'm in that boat.
Totally.
Did I love Halo 4 and Halo 5? No, I did not. It did not feel like the Halo I knew how to play and loved, and that, built a career out of, and all of this other shit. But I didn't hate it. I played a lot of Halo 4 out of the pure fact that it had Halo in the beginning of the title. The number didn't matter. I still wanted to play Halo. Same thing with 5. My brother grinded Halo 5 forever. So I don't think I spread a lot of negativity about Halo onto Audrey. No. So from a unbiased, you just watched the trailer. Did it get you were you like, yes?
So I'm trying to remember the trailer. And
that's
not not even saying like, I'm not saying that that's like a bad thing. I'm trying to remember because guys, there's so much content now.
There's a lot.
But in terms of, I'm trying to remember and keep my ducks in a row of like what the trailer was. And it was, I'm trying to remember. It was the beginning kind of like where Master Chief was being like assembled in a way. Am I thinking of the right one?
Oh, that was last year. So their cinematic last year was unbelievable.
So I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, that was dope.
The only problem with last year's was here, let's do this. I'm in front of my computer. We have a monitor in front of us. I'm going to pull it up with, you're not going to be able to hear the audio, but I'm going to pull it up for you.
Yeah, let's do a quick react too real quick. See how this goes.
So Halo.
It'll definitely jog my memory once
Infinite.
I start saying it, but
Halo Infinite. I love something I really, really love. You type in Halo Infinite, and not a single video in the first 7, 8 come from Halo. It's all creators, streamers.
Oh, yeah.
Reacting to and talking about the game, which is really cool to see.
Yeah.
So
the community
overview trailer. Yeah, right.
All right, Odd.
I'll definitely remember this, but
here we go.
Here we go. We're in. Just started.
In a beautiful and mysterious sci-fi world.
Talk us through what you're seeing, Audrey.
Panning over a nice old landscape and showing the environment and everything. Was this the original trailer that was shown?
This is the one that came out this year, a couple weeks ago. 3 weeks ago.
This year, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me make sure we're up on quality too.
Kind of the most recent visual we have to go on.
Yes.
As far as speculating what the rest of the game is going to look like and feel like and play like.
This is all we know of it. This is all we know.
Okay, yeah, I remember this, and he's like doing his little hoppy hops.
So this was a beautiful moment for me.
Yeah.
So this was showing Chief floating through space, and he's just like scouting
debris, and
but then when he comes upon the fallen soldiers, he's really delicate with them. He slows down. He takes his time to move them. Really, really great.
It's enough.
Yeah, this is all great. So yeah, I think for me, Odd, it's like, well, let me ask you from like a perspective of something that you have experience in. What do you think of the game's like artwork, the concept, development behind this? Do you think this works in 2021 as a game? Do you think this holds up? Do you think it competes? Now, obviously, you're having just a visual reaction. Right. Obviously, music, the sound design.
And it's hard for me to judge because I know there's so many other factors, and I care more about storytelling too. And I know you guys are more like, at least you, Justin, like in terms of multiplayer and the competition side of it. But yeah, I'm definitely more curious about the campaign side of things, and also I just don't know the story of Halo all that much. I know
it's a frickin' doozy with a million splinters.
Yeah, I heard it's deep, and like with Cortana is her name, right?
No.
No, that's the fucking
yeah.
No, this is Cortana. Cortana is Halo.
You have
Cortana
much
is
to
no
learn,
more.
but yeah.
Right. Okay.
She's gone.
Gotcha.
Still here.
And for anyone listening, apologies. I think we'll probably like show this as like a reactionary thing.
Yeah.
With us talking over it.
Yeah.
And just so the people visually watching can see what we're seeing. Sure? We're just kind of talking through it. I think the artwork personally right now is in a really good spot. Compared to last year, where we were at last year,
I
think it's in a really good spot.
Yeah.
This is the most Halo I have felt Halo since 3. And that's just my opinion.
Well, that's wow.
But that is where I get weird, is right there was the showcase. And I know that there is no multiplayer there. Mm-hmm. And so that's where I think I was like, oh no, that's not good. But then, they do come out with, the next day they come out with a 13-minute, multiplayer overview. But I still want more.
Yeah.
I don't care. We're too close.
I mean,
we're too close.
Yeah.
Too close for comfort.
Yeah.
I either want to see it, or they better be sending my ass a flight invite because I want to play it.
Can I be honest here for a second? I know 100 million% that I am in the minority on this. But I honestly kind of miss the days where all of this build up and PR and marketing and all of that stuff was pretty much just like the 6 months before the game was there. And
I know what you mean.
You kind of got the game and then you get what you get. Like I know that's like a super like old guy thing to say, but like back in the day, like you would hear about a game and then 3 months later it was playable. It was you could buy it. Like the first commercial you saw was 3 months before it was in your hand. And like now we're like 5 years out and we're listening to devs talk about all this stuff, and people are forming these opinions before like there's even concept art for the environment. And it's like it just kind of like it puts me in such a weird place as an artist, because I would hate to work under those conditions, to know that every single thing that you do is going to be shit on before it's done.
Tampering with the creativity in the process.
It just like it would have such a crazy mental effect on me that I don't think I would be able to do good work, because I know like it doesn't matter how good it is, half of the fan base is going to hate this game for one reason.
And that's why it takes so much longer, right?
And you do iterations, and like a gameplay trailer comes out and everybody hates it, and it negates 4 years of work, and you have to go back and say, okay, well, we're not good enough. We need to figure out how to be better. And like that's so
leaving it to
much
the people.
pressure. That is so much pressure. I don't know. It's tough. But I mean, you got to make a good game. When there's this much anticipation with a title, like you can't be bad. You have to do it.
I think gamers nowadays, and Justin, I'm sure you'll agree, that they're just so much more attentive to everything now. People are so much more aware of what goes into making a video game and everything else before and after, and people want to be part of that process, I think, and people are always going to have opinions and stuff, and everything is so accessible to nowadays, and so much more visible, to where it's hard for people not to put their piece in. But
yeah, I mean, I think that to your point, accessibility, right? When I was a kid, you were told, go outside. Don't play video games. Come on, you're wasting your time. Like, you get an hour.
Yeah.
And there was also the argument of like, oh, you're a dork or a nerd or whatever. You know, when you were a kid, your parents really were strict, at least mine were, on like playing video games, like an hour, not every day. And you were told to go outside and do all these things, and people don't have a future playing video games. And then the people who liked gaming were also ridiculed for liking gaming by a lot of people, and it wasn't the cool thing to do. You were nerdy and all this other stuff. And now you can get a career in gaming. You can be a professional gamer. There are people being groomed to be gamers, which I don't agree with.
Yeah.
But
depends on how it's done. But
yeah, but I'm saying like it's just like Dance Moms or
that's
that kind of stuff where it's like
I feel you.
You're 2 or 3 year old kid and you're like, you're going to be a pro gamer, and you're just like, here,
terrible.
play this. You're going to do this.
Yeah.
It's just like with any sport. I knew a bunch of dads like that from my hometown who were like, no, you're going to play fucking football.
Yeah.
Because that's what I did, and that's what your granddad did, and my brothers, that kind of mentality. I think it's starting to seep in, especially overseas. That mentality is seeping in of like, we're going to build the best gamers you've ever seen. They're going to be incredible by the time they're 12, 13, pro at 14. And, because you never know where gaming's going. Gaming is going to continue, especially esports, is going to continue to grow and grow and grow and grow. And one day it's going to be knocking on, I personally think it's already surpassed in terms of viewership base and fan base, traditional sports for the most part. If you look at like what League of Legends does, oh my God.
It depends on what sports you're looking at, because I feel like in America, we have a skewed view of that. Because if you look at cricket, if you look at rugby, if you look at sports that we don't watch here, oh my God, not even close, dude.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think it's
and region too. I mean, like in Korea, for sure.
We've talked about this. Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
Super Bowl, right?
It depends on how you look at it. Because to your point, one thing that doesn't quite correlate yet is like jersey sales. Right.
Merchandising, physical ticket sales, all of those things that go into traditional sports that aren't quite there yet. With esports. And
you're right. Esports is way more fleeting. right?
For sure. Yeah.
Your roster is going to change. You're not going to have a star player stick around. Most orgs won't.
Well,
for
and
a
there's
decade for
no
you.
legacy anywhere because we're too early.
It's
like
too young.
there's
It's too
no
young.
like other than like Optic, there's really no like
Yeah.
in NA anyway, there's not like a legacy team where it's like I'm a fan because my dad was a fan, or like that doesn't exist yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're not there yet. And we're not gamers aren't quite household name yet.
Right.
And it's because you're when you talk about esports, your esports is not competing with the NFL.
Right.
Esports is esports, just like sports are sports. Inside of esports, you have the CDL, right?
Yeah,
you
all the leagues, all the different games,
Overwatch
all
League.
the tiers
Valorant,
of leagues.
League of Legends, different. And then inside of that, you have different types of games. Because your League of Legends players a lot of times don't watch Call of Duty. Call of Duty doesn't really watch League of Legends all the time. There's not a huge crossover there. So you've got to think like League of Legends is the MLB, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Overwatch is the NBA. That's how you have to kind of view it. And you have to sit and go, is Overwatch League as big as the NBA? No, right? Like, no, it's not. Now, League of Legends, though, if you look at the old League of Legends numbers and their Worlds numbers, they beat the Super Bowl viewership by like tenfold. It's unbelievable.
Like
what
5-6 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And so the evolution of gaming and esports specifically from then till now has skyrocketed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'd be curious to see an updated, like detailed report statistically on what esports looks like in compared to traditional sports at this point. Because I think it'd be really
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't even know how we went there. I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah, I don't know how we got there, but
but it's
back
always
to
fun
Infinite.
to get somewhere like that, right? But back to Infinite. Overall thoughts are, I'm impressed so far.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely want them in the near future. We're in July. We're through the first week of July. You got to start giving us a little more insight on the date. Because I think at a certain point, if you're saying September, that's probably not likely, right?
Yeah.
2 months from now, it's
really
not going to happen.
that. Yeah.
But November is 4 months away, dude.
Mm.
That's not that far. And you're talking about wanting to pop a flight in there as well. I think the flight's coming. I think we get the flight before August. I really do.
Really?
I do because if they flight it, say towards the end of August, how do they flight it, take consumer feedback, and launch the game by December? Yeah. I just don't know how that works.
That's a good point.
It feels tight to me. And they're going to flight for at least, I would think 2 weeks, right? You're going to beta test for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And you might even do an alpha test and then a beta test. You might do small sample size first and then larger sample size second. But I just don't know if the time's there for that. If you don't release the flight like within the next month.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a very good point.
And I think they've been talking about it too much. I think they've learned their lesson on when to say things. To your point, Xavier, and not jam everything down your throat, like over promise, right?
Yeah.
You want to under promise, over deliver. And I think that's what they're kind of basing this on.
Yeah.
And even today, they were like, make sure you've connected your Xbox account or whatever that is. Make sure you're in Halo Waypoint. Make sure you've opted in for the beta. Like, make sure you've done this. That tells me they wouldn't be reminding you to do that constantly if it wasn't coming.
Yeah, if it wasn't almost there. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I will say what I am pleased with is the transparency that they're trying to have with their plans around HCS, with the ecosystem that they're trying to build with esports. Saying like, hey, we're working on this stuff. Like, we can't give you everything. We can't say everything that we're doing, but we want you to know that we are working on it and we are thinking about it, because I think that was on the other side of, people just wanting it to be a good game. The other side was, okay, well, it has this legacy of being an amazing multiplayer experience, and housing an esports ecosystem that supports that as well. Is that a focus of yours, or are you going to put a BR in it and forget about all that stuff that we asked you for? We put out a tweet the other day asking about a battle royale in Halo, and it was spicy.
Spicy.
There was a lot of opposition. There was a lot of people that were like, hell yeah, I would absolutely play that. I would love it. Some people thought they need it. Some people said they would never play the game again, ever, if they put one in, regardless of how the game played or not.
Wow.
So like, it's just, that's how serious people are being about these kinds of decisions, which is exciting, which means that there is a diehard fan base, which means that people really do care about this game, which is good for the game. But can be a detriment, as we've seen with people saying, like, if they do this one thing that I didn't want them to do, it ruins the entire game for me, which I think is totally unfair. But again, there is a right way to handle it and a wrong way to handle it, and people are afraid of Warzone happening to Halo, which I think is valid.
Especially with what's happening in Warzone right now.
Right.
And even the pro scene being concerned about Warzone.
Right.
And so I understand all of that. But at the same time, I don't. You know, it's like, but this has always been Halo. Like, the Halo fan base is that of
very passionate.
Very passionate. That's a good word. Everything is a polarizing issue to everyone.
That's a kind word. That is a very nice word.
That's a really nice way of saying.
Well, I'm kind.
Children.
So.
Assholes. Dude,
you know.
Sometimes gamers can be assholes about their favorite game.
Yeah. And it's a legacy game. It's been out 20 years.
Yes.
So you got to think people who started playing when they're 8 and are 28 years old, 29, 30, in their mid 30s, 40 years old, they're like, it's their favorite game of all time, and they've been able to play it their entire life.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, we saw a lot of people reply to that tweet also by saying they're going to play with their kids, which I thought was like, oh, dang, yeah.
That's wild.
I mean,
yeah.
You're going to be able to share that.
It's unbelievable, right? It's like, we played with my parents, but because they liked the game, not because they grew up on it.
Right.
And I couldn't imagine being like, yeah, when I was your age. That's a serious thing you could say to your kid, talking about the game you are now playing with them in 2021.
Yeah,
that's
wild.
Fucking wild.
That's where we
saw
are
a lot of
with video games. It's wild.
It is. And I saw a lot of like, we started playing through the campaigns, you know, with CE with my kid. It's like, that's crazy, man. That's so awesome to hear that it's a almost tradition. I feel like Halo can become a traditional
torch being
thing.
Passed down.
Yeah, totally. It's just something you sit down and play with your family. Back on HCS, though. Let's talk about that for a second. Because as much as I like the transparency, as a person trying to build an org and someone who wants to be involved, but someone who doesn't have a ton of sponsorship money or a million follower fan base, it's very frustrating right now to be us and want to be involved.
Yeah, if anyone wants to drop millions of dollars on our heads and say, go pull a team, like, we're ready. Let's do it.
We are, you know.
We know where to put it.
Anyone want to be like an angel investor? You know, you can be like a silent partner. That sounds cool. You just give us money and never speak. I think that's what silent means. No, I mean, we are obviously working as hard as we can to make something happen. But we're in a place where it's like, it's the waiting game, man. We're kind of in the dark, as are a lot of people. I've talked to pros and coaches that feel the same way, who didn't get, you know, one of those quote unquote partnered organizations, which is tough. But there's light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm going to say 2 words that makes us extremely optimistic about our future in Halo.
I know what you're going to say.
That is an open ecosystem.
Boom.
Or an open bracket, or whatever you want to call it, but an open ecosystem or an open bracket means that an amateur team could climb the rank, compete with the big boys, upset the big boys, and win a major. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing to me in competitive integrity of a game. We're going to invite the big boys to come play, of course, because we want to make those deals happen. But we also want to open this up to anyone who's deserving, right? And we'll put in the work and we'll try. So we are trying to figure out where we come in. Audrey and I have been talking a lot about like what our moves are from like a branding and switching our brand up a little bit. I know that Audrey really wants to explore new, I guess, creative processes within our branding. If you want to talk on that a little bit and how we might incorporate Halo moving into Infinite, just from like creative a brand perspective, like our texture versus illustration. Versus...
yes. Yeah, so I guess in terms of like with Halo and everything too, and this was kind of the thought again from the very beginning, and trying to kind of keep that true as we evolve and as we keep going and just see what's on the horizon. But I guess having kind of specific rules, I guess like design rules is kind of the best way to put it for when we use Halo, related things, and just making sure that as we venture into not just Halo, but any other future games, and what certain things look like when we're just talking about a person or our team or a coach, and internal stuff like that, and just what those rules look like, I guess. So I guess like as the example that you kind of mentioned, so I guess something that we kind of said from the beginning is like everything has some kind of grit or texture or grain to it. I think that was kind of a note too, and that's honestly part of my, personal favorite style, is to have like everything has like some kind of like, handheld touch to it, something it was like held in someone's hands kind of thing. But I mean, there's just so many brands out there right now that are very clean cut, very vector, which is great, good for them. But I don't know, it's not always like that, and I think with our messaging and our story and everything, it doesn't fit that. With us anyway. But yeah, with Halo, I would imagine, I mean, at least what we've been doing right now, more wireframe kind of stuff, a little more like technical, but still like, on the gritty side too. It's kind of hard to explain without like showing it, but
we're getting too technical.
Yeah.
People aren't going to understand.
Yeah, I know. I'm just describing things. It's fine. But yeah, just kind of having like what a blueprint, I guess, of like Halo and like Master Chief and the players that play it, like if they're inside of the game, that kind of thing. So kind of pulling some of that like cyber, technical aspect into it, but also still feeling like it is like in your hands.
Yeah.
So
no, totally. And I think that with Halo, our brand's like evolution is kind of moving with it, right? As we develop and get into Halo, so is our brand. And I just want to take a second of what, sorry, go ahead, Xavier.
So no, I was gonna say that I think that is a very important thing for us to make clear, is that we said it on the last podcast, we said it on the first podcast, and we're gonna say it again. When we're with everything that we do, we are doing it, we're coming at it from a place of integrating it with our brand. If we're going to be a part of HCS esports, we're full in, and it becomes part of the brand. The brand becomes part of that esports ecosystem. We're not just going to slap our logo on a team jersey and say, go play. Like we're ready. And I'm talking to you, Halo. I'm talking to HCS. Like we're down to do like content that is beneficial for the scene and for us. We are going to try to do things like documentary films and stuff like that to really put ourselves in the scene. We don't want to just be on the outside looking in and have a little toe dipped in there. Like we're really gonna go for this.
Yeah. And I think you two both just really set me up for where I want this conversation to kind of go, is our involvement in HCS and what we can bring to the table, not only to HCS, because I do agree, I think there's a lot of opportunity there for us to make some dope content. We absolutely will. We're going to leverage that as much as possible. You'll see kind of what we're talking about, I would think, in the next couple months, based on some project ideas we have that aren't directly related to HCS or a team, but are directly related to Halo and our brand. But we are absolutely going to enter that space. I think that's been made pretty clear. I think we'll do some form of a formal announcement at some point. For right now, we are looking to put a team together. we are still trying to figure out what that looks like from our side. It's really easy to be like, we want to compete, but it's a much harder, bigger, more difficult conversation for us internally. And we've been having those hard talks the last couple weeks. I mean, we've been talking about this since we launched. It was always the intention was to get into Halo esports, but now it is time to make that, dream kind of come to life. It's that time, and we're going to do it. But with that, I just want players out there, both from an amateur and professional level, to seriously consider us. And my pitch on that would be exactly what these two have been talking about. If you aren't convinced by what we've been doing on social, the content you've seen thus far, listen to the way we speak about things with intention. Look at how we've handled our partnership with Trunk so far. I think we've done some really great things with him, and we'll continue to do great things with him. And we look at this as a partnership. You work with us, we're going to work with you, and we're going to work for you very, very hard. And I think that we have a really unique perspective on how we can leverage you and HCS and your brand to help you grow, not only as a player, but as a creator, someone on social media, your own personal brand. We talk about that all the time. It's a conversation we have a lot with Trunks and how we can, help facilitate his growth. That's what we are looking to do. We don't just want to bring people on and be like, okay, go play and win us some money. That's not what we're about. We want to facilitate the best talent, and we want to win some fucking titles. Like, that's what I want to do. I want us to be the org that came in, did everything grassroots.
Out of nowhere.
Out of fucking nowhere, and come in and win a title. And say, you do not have to be that to win this. You don't have to be that to become this.
And we are going to tell the story from our side. We're not going to give it to some journalist, whoever wants to tell our story. Like, we're going to tell the story of that happening while it's happening, and which I feel like is totally lost on a lot of orgs, is they miss that opportunity of like just talking to the players. How are you feeling? Like, what was it like being up there? Like, they let all these journalists and these like weird blog sites. I mean, there's some good ones out there, but like, it's a lot of people just like taking found footage and saying, this is how this player felt. I wasn't there, but this is what he looks like.
Sure.
Like, yeah, we're wanting
where's that human
story
connection
to come in while it's happening, and that's one of our goals as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll just say this: if you are a pro, if you're a pro-am, if you're tier 3, whatever, if you're just entering the space, talk to your other pros and talk to some of the coaches. Because I will say this: we've talked to teams, we've talked to rosters, we've talked to a couple coaches. We've even pitched a couple teams. We've even talked deals with teams, pro teams, players that you definitely know. We haven't received any negative feedback from these players, these coaches, these rosters at all. I think everyone so far that we've chatted with, we have piqued their interest on multiple levels. So just going to throw that little tidbit out there that we are actively searching. And if you are serious, even if you're an individual, if you're a duo, if you already have a team assembled, if you're a coach looking for something interesting, I would urge you to hit us up. I would definitely say reach out. Now, we're still trying to figure things out, but it doesn't hurt to sit down and chat. So I would say that is an open invitation to anyone looking to possibly make something work with us. We're all ears at this point.
And where can they reach you, Justin?
Well, Audrey, I'm
opening the floodgates.
Cut to like a game show kind of scene. Show them what they've won, Johnny. What are they playing for, Johnny? So I think the best way that you could reach us right now is Twitter. And you can reach out to me personally on Twitter if you'd like to. It's HAV3, the number 3, Y. HAV3Y. Feel free to do that. You can just say, hey, Havy, I'm a coach. I have 2 players. We're looking to build a 4-man team. Would love to chat. That's all it has to be.
Super casual.
We can get the conversation very casual. I don't need some, whatever. That will come. We eventually will need to sit down and have a serious conversation, of course. But I think if you're interested in any form, hit us up. You can also message us on Twitter through the Vandyl Gaming, through the Vandyl Twitter handle, and it's just VANDYL. We talked about this last podcast. We actually got that handle, which I'm still very proud of. You can hit us up there. Similar thing, it can be super casual. We have been, this is a full disclaimer, my Twitter and Vandyl's Twitter has been, and I don't know about these guys, very active from a DM perspective. If you don't get an immediate response, also, we're operating this business, this brand. We also all have jobs. Like, we are busy. So if you don't hear from us right away, don't sweat it. If you see I've read it, I'm probably read it while I was in a fucking Zoom at work, and I'm like, okay, I can't actually respond to this right now. So just give me some time. We will get back to you. I promise you that much. But no, we are looking for people very serious about their future within the space of Halo competitively. So I hate to say it like this, but if you are thinking like, oh, I think it'd be fun to put a team of 4 together and see what happens. That's not necessarily what we're looking for. We're looking for people with the experience and the drive to do this and win, because that's what we're looking to do as an organization. Mm-hmm. And if you're looking for something unique and different, I can promise you right now, Vandyl as an organization, even though we're small and we're still grassroots, we're very scrappy. We can make things happen. So feel free to hit us up. Hope to hear from you guys. Again, it's Vandyl, VANDYL on Twitter, or HAV3Y if you want to hit me up personally. If we could, let's keep it to the Vandyl page. That way we have everything in one spot and you can communicate with the page. But yeah, I did just want to throw that out there and let people know we are serious. I think eventually we would like to have some form of formal application on our website. Mm-hmm. And that's for other things as well. It's not just for a team where creators and streamers can also apply, or for our internal team, which will hopefully eventually and soon grow to be a little bit bigger than the 3 of us from a support standpoint. But I'm very excited about the future of Halo. I'm very excited about our involvement in Infinite. And I don't know if there's anything I missed from like our goal with a team. Xavier, Audrey, if either of you have any other little bits of information for the people.
I don't think so.
No, I mean, our job with the team is to facilitate them doing the best they could possibly do and taking it as far as they can take it, and we'll handle the rest. You know, that's what an org should do, right? A lot of people, especially in like, you know, situations where there's an open ecosystem where anyone can make a team and anyone can join, orgs are preying on people. And that's not what we are trying to do. Like Justin said, we're not just looking for 4 people to play the game. We're looking for people who believe in the brand, who want to be a part of the brand first, and that are also great at Halo.
That's a big bonus.
Yeah, also take that into consideration. If you don't like what we're doing, don't talk to us. Like, I don't mean that in like a like you're not good enough for us way. I just mean like, if you don't like the brand, we don't want you to be a part of the brand.
Yeah, if we're not your vibe,
we don't want to do that, and you don't want to do that. So why would we?
And we haven't facilitated that, right? Like, that's not what we're about. We are not a made for everyone brand.
Yep.
We are a very specific taste for people, I think. And I think as we grow, that's going to become more apparent. And I'm not saying that we're not gatekeeping. We are not this exclusive thing, but we do have a tone and a vibe where we talked about this on the last podcast, where we're not doing challenges. We're not interested in Fortnite. We're not interested in creating TikTok dances and really jumping on trends. We're looking to set them, right? So I think that we're looking to push the boundaries of what it means to be a mature, gritty, serious organization who can also not only make badass content and has a roster of really cool people, but can win some fucking championships and some games. We'll show up and we're going to play. So I do agree with that sentiment of, if you don't fuck with that, probably don't hit us up, because we can read people pretty well and we'll know if we'll vibe check that. So if we're not feeling it from you, you're not going to feel it from us, I guess is what we're saying. So we really want to hear from people though. We're very interested. I am specifically very, very interested in it. Something I'm looking to spearhead in the near future is Let's get a fucking team together and let's go play.
Let's get some people to rally up and make some cool shit for and just promote the hell out of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the other bonus is you have this person right here to my left who gets to make you gets to brand you
I'll
top
take
to
care of
bottom.
you.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, I'm excited.
Me too. Yeah. I think we've got a lot of stuff that we want to do, which includes, all the stuff that we talked about in the other podcast with our merch, with our storytelling, with other arms of the company that we want to build up as well while all this is going on. And I think we're well on our way to making this. We're small now. We are small now, but I have a feeling next year is going to be a big year for us.
We're small but mighty.
Indeed. Small and mighty.
Also, if anyone watches this and you want to clip a certain part of it, it's going to be this part right here, and then I'm going to need you to really activate on Twitter. Tashi gave out his email address. Vandyl has formally reached out to Tashi. Tashi, I would love to chat about our involvement in HCS. I mean that in a very serious way. We truly want to be involved. Not even from like a partner team perspective. I understand that that's been locked up. I'm very, very curious and excited as a fan to know who those teams are. I want to know because there aren't enough T1 orgs competing in Halo right now to make up what I would think is that list. So I want to know the new orgs entering the space of Halo. Do we want to just speculate real quick? Do we want to speculate? So current big orgs right now in Halo. You have Envy.
Mm-hmm.
You have Cloud9, and you have Sentinels. You have, if you would consider them a big org, Kansas City Pioneers. You have... Is that it?
I wouldn't say big, but they've been around for a long time.
Is that it? That might be it.
I can't think of... those are the ones who are playing and winning.
Right.
So yeah, not a ton of super high level orgs in there.
3 in Kansas City Pioneers, if they would throw them, say they threw them into the Pioneers into the mix, that'd make 4, just to do the math easy.
Uh-huh.
Say they only opened it up to 8, which sounds reasonable. That would be a number to me.
Sure.
8, 12, 16, it has to be somewhere in there. There's no way it was just 4.
12 sounds... 8 sounds more realistic, but 12 would make more sense to me.
Right. So let's say it's another 4. Who is it? Who is an org that would be open to entering the space of Halo?
I don't know why. I mean, I kind of know why I think this, but I really have a feeling V1 it would be really interested in Halo.
V1, interesting.
Yeah, they're having some success in Valorant. Some good success. They're kind of new still. They're kind of still making their name in esports in general. And isn't that Gary V's team? That's what I was
unlimited money.
That's what I mean. I think he is very good at predictions, seeing the writing on the wall and where he needs to be before he needs to be there. And I think Infinite is one of those things. And I think he's going to want to jump in there personally. So I think V1's going to be in.
Predictions, Audrey?
100 Thieves.
100 Thieves? I could see it. I could definitely see it. Nade Shot loves Halo. Courage came from the Halo scene. And then you have Logan Dotson, who runs your post, and he is a Halo legend. So, yeah, I could see that. But I don't know if I see them competing. Or if I see them just doing the content creator streamer side of Halo.
That's more where I see them going is the content opportunities in Infinite are great as well, which we will also be involved in.
Yes.
And we already are with Trunks.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I could see them doing that, but they get so much flack for their esports teams already that I don't know if being in on something like this that early is something they're going to want to do.
The only way I could see them entering it is the aspect of the revenue share.
That is a good point.
Because that's something I think they would absolutely chase because they're that kind of organization that looks for that kind of opportunity. Mm-hmm. Look at Rogue Company. Mm-hmm. Look at CDL.
Yeah.
Like they have skins in game, you know.
Yeah.
I could see
EG getting in there.
Yeah, I could
Evil
see
Geniuses.
I don't think I see I don't see TSM entering.
Nah,
I don't see TSM coming in. I think they're having a really hard time with Valorant, and that's the latest game they've decided to enter that I think they're not going to look they're going to look to fix that first.
They were never like an FPS like organization anyway. Like that was kind of a long shot them doing Valorant anyway. And it's worked out kinda. But yeah,
it's crazy because it should have worked out a lot better.
It should have. Yeah, the roster was insane early. And yeah, I don't know what happened over there. Like I said, they're not an FPS org. Like they do everything else that they do really well. Yep. They're like really good at everything else. For some reason, FPS just isn't their thing.
Yeah, and then I don't know about like orgs like T1. I'd be curious to know if Halo is going to be a worldwide esports scene.
I think that's another question. Yeah,
is do you have European teams? And the opposite side of that is, can Europe compete with North American Halo? I don't know, because I don't remember there being many European teams in any of the Halos. So very interesting. I think it's all really cool. And obviously complete speculation, but I can tell you who will be competing in HCS.
Hit me.
Vandyl.
Hit me.
Vandyl will absolutely be competing, creating content. We are in there. And it started with Trunks.
He's the first Vandyl.
Like, that was the first Vandyl. Our first, like, we're here to play, right? We are here to stay, and we're here for Halo, was Trunks. That announcement, I think, really set people up to realize that we were serious about this. Yeah, so I'm very excited for our future within Halo.
Absolutely.
Did I miss anything, guys? Did I miss any Halo-related bits? We could do this for hours.
We could talk about this stuff all. I love talking about esports and learning. Like, if anyone like wants to drop some knowledge on us after hearing what we had to say, please do in the comments on YouTube. Let us know what you think about what we said. Let us know what you think about Infinite, where you think it's going, what you think about what we know so far. If you're listening on Spotify, go to the YouTube, leave a comment, go to Twitter. We want to hear from you, because, you know, Halo has a very rich history, if you will, of community involvement, and Vandyl, that's kind of what we're modeling ourselves after, right? So we want to hear from you about us as well.
And with what Xavier said, with this information that we're entering the HCS space and we want to compete and we'll have streamers and creators, if you're looking for an org to call your home, like you want to be part of a specific community, because I know that people today, it's just like picking a favorite sports team. You know what I mean? And the great thing about gaming is it's not necessarily where you're from that matters. It's who you vibe with, who you fuck with, right? From a player perspective, their values, they have really cool branding, if that's enough for you. Which I know we do. But if you're looking for an org that started with the intention of competing and being involved in Halo, and you're not wanting to just jump on the next team that decides to enter because it looks like a good cash grab, i.e. if 100 Thieves or TSM or T1, they don't need Halo. In some ways, Vandyl needs Halo, and I think Halo is going to end up needing Vandyl at some point. So if you're still looking for a team to rep, I highly recommend checking us out. Check out our website, vandylgaming.com. Please follow us on Twitter. That's where most of our news, our updates, our shit posting, and our general thoughts about the game. Any big announcements, probably going to see them first on Twitter. It's at Vandyl, Vandyl. Follow us on Instagram as well. It's Vandyl Gaming. No spaces, no hyphens, underscores, periods, anything like that. And we want to connect with you guys. So like Xavier said, if you're watching this on YouTube, please comment. We want to know your thoughts on HCS, the future, our future, what you think about us competing. And again, if you're a player, coach, whatever, and you're interested, please hit us up. We're definitely open to talking to any and everyone at this point in the game. Well, I think that's probably good enough to wrap it up. I think we're right on that hour mark. I think this is about 10 hours too short to be talking about Halo, but I'm sure we will do this again. No promises if this is the next one, but I would say look for Trunks to be on a future episode of the podcast. Can't wait to get him on here, get his thoughts and his perspective on Halo.
Yep.
Everything Halo, from Infinite to Master Chief Collection and beyond. And until then, guys, thank you so much for joining us again here with our creative director and the incredibly talented Audrey and our head of content, Xavier. I'm Havy, guys. Until next time, take care.
See you later.